Hey everybody, welcome to a special Organabis. This is Private Stash. Today we're going to be making a super soil. This is basically based on Subcool's recipe. We're leaving a couple things out. We're leaving out the cocoa and the sunshine mix. Other than that, what we're going to do is put together a charger pack, and then we'll take our charger pack. I've got some soil set up in this bucket, and we'll put the charger pack into the soil. So join me as we make a charger pack of super soil. Okay, what I've got here, we're going to start off, is our 5 pounds of earthworm castings. Now the original recipe calls for eight bags of root soil. So I've basically taken the recipe and divided it into 1/8. So the recipe you're going to be seeing here can be used with 1 bag of soil. 5 pounds of earthworm castings, give or take a pound. Probably add an extra pound in there, wouldn't hurt you. Next up is going to be our 5 pounds of fish bone meal. Now we're breaking this all down to 1/8. So 5 pounds is going to be 10 ounces of bone meal. This is 1200 from the Down to Earth. I already had everything already pre-measured and weighed out. 10 ounces. And then we'll go ahead and take that 10 ounces and add that into our worm castings. Mix that up a little bit. Perfect. Okay, next is going to be 10 ounces of fish bone meal. Again, 10 ounces is 1/8 of 5 pounds, which calls in the original recipe. We're making 1 bag of soil. 10 ounces of fish bone meal. Try not to make too much dust. You really don't want to be breathing this stuff in. Go ahead and mix that in a little bit. Alright. Now that we got that, next up is going to be 10 ounces of bat guano. He calls for a 070 on the bat guano. I've got a 070 and I also have a 3.5. So we need a total of 10 ounces. We're going to do 5 ounces of the 070 and we're going to do 10 ounces because this is half strength and 10 ounces of the 3.5. Normally it'd be 10 ounces altogether, but I'm doing something a little different. So we'll add our total of 10 ounces of bat guano, 070. Okay. Plus I like adding a couple different types of guano sources, and that's what these two are, 2 different types of bat guanos. And we'll add this bag in. That mixed up here. Good enough for now. Okay, next up is going to be original cost for 3/4 cup of Epsom salts. I broke my bag, that's why it's in here, but Epsom salts, 3/4 of a cup. This is actually going to be, comes out to be 1.5 tablespoons of Epsom salts. And next up, we're going to have 1/8 cup of dolomite lime. The original recipe calls for 1 cup, so 1/8 of that is 1/8 cup of lime. And that's going to be basically 2 tablespoons. Get that and mix up in here. Again, basically we're just making the charger pack with worm castings, and then we're going to go ahead and add this to our soil. Alright. Next up, we've got 2 tablespoons of humic acid. 2 tablespoons doesn't seem like very much, and actually 2 tablespoons, and we're going to do that 1/8, is going to be this much, maybe a couple teaspoons. The humic acid is pretty strong. This calls for 1 pound per 100 square feet. So a couple teaspoons should be plenty. All right, there's our humic. And our next up is going to be, the rest of these are going to be a 1/4 cup. It's going to be a 1/4 cup of crab meal. Got everything all mixed, pre-measured, so we don't have to sit here and measure everything out. Mix that in here a little bit. All right. Next up is going to be our alfalfa meal, 1/4 cup. Again, the original recipe calls for 2 cups for 8 bags of soil. We're using 1 bag of soil, so 1/4 cup. Okay, next up we're going to have a 1/4 cup of our oyster shell. There she is. Right. Next up is going to be our kelp meal. Again, another 1/4 cup of kelp meal. And last but definitely not least, our azomite, our trace mineral supplement. 1/4 cup. All right. Go ahead and give that a little mix up in here. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're still going to be mixing this up in our soil. Okay, now that's mixed up. Speaking of soil, what I'm actually using is the Root 707. I was actually using the Roots Original. I switched over to the 707. Holds a little more water. My plants seem to like it. I did use it because my hydro store was out of the original, and I picked up the 707 and liked it, so I'll just keep using it. This 707 is actually 2 bags of your original, so this is actually almost 20 gallons of soil, and your Roots Original bag is only 10 gallons. So what I've done is I've already added 5 gallons of soil into my trash can here, and here's the other 5 gallons, 10 gallons of soil, 5 pounds of worm castings, and that charger pack. There we go. Dump our soil in here. And we're going to throw a little extra perlite in there. You never have enough perlite. Okay. That's about it. As soon as the smoke goes away, I'm going to go ahead and get this all mixed up really well. I'm going to go sit it outside right behind you here. And in about a month, we'll go ahead and start using it for our plants. So thanks for hanging out with me and putting together the super soil. Hope that answers any questions for you. Any questions or comments, leave them below. And see you on the next Organabis.